He had this awful grin on his face, like he was enjoying himself. There was something in his eyes that I can't explain, but it terrified me more than anything else.
Here's our top 3 Let's Not Meet stories from Reddit.
Number 3.
In my early 20s, I waitressed and bartended at a hotel restaurant. Construction workers in town for jobs often stayed at the hotel and would come eat and drink there. I met a really, really tall, cute guy. Not the creep, but ultimately a prick. And whenever he was in town, we would hang out. He lived 2 states over, but was in my area a lot. One time, he was working a job in a neighboring state, so I drove to meet him. When I got to his hotel, we went to the bar and had a few drinks with some other construction guys who happened to be there, not from his company, then went back to the room. Later, we decided to order food from the bar. The prick was in the shower when they called, so I went down to pick it up. When I got there, the guys we had been drinking with were still there and pretty sauced by that point. The bartender was busy, so I sat and played the digital slots. One of the construction guys, the creep, came over and immediately started hitting on me, trying to touch me and put his arm around me, despite knowing I was there with someone else. He kept repeating his room number. I had to loudly tell him to get away from me multiple times, and he finally backed off once others started noticing. In my flustered rage, I grabbed my food and went back to the room, where I told the prick everything. He rolled his eyes and kind of shrugged it off. I felt really unsettled and vulnerable. That's when I realized my phone was gone. Great. I had left it at the bar on the slot machine. The prick and I went back down to look for it. The guys were gone, but the bartender told me the creep had taken my phone and said he'd return it to me. Perfect. Then I remembered. He had told me his room number. I told the prick, who immediately implied I must have asked for it. I didn't care. I marched him to the creep's room. I knocked, and the prick, 6'7", by the way, stood off to the side, out of view of the peephole. The creep swung the door open way too enthusiastically, grabbed my wrist, and tried to pull me inside. Thank God for the prick, who stepped in and yelled, "Hey!" The look on the creep's face. I'll never forget it. Pure panic. I yanked my arm away and yelled, "Give me my phone!" He denied everything, claimed he didn't have it, said the bartender was lying, just kept rambling. The prick didn't do anything else, so we left. I felt defeated, unsafe, and furious. But I couldn't leave without my phone. I managed to sleep a little that night, but woke up around 4:30 a.m. when the prick left for work. I stayed in the room until about 7, just fuming. Then I decided to do something about it. I gathered my things and found a maintenance worker in the pool area. I considered explaining everything, but decided to keep it simple. I told him I had accidentally locked my phone in my room and gave him the creep's room number, knowing he'd already be gone for work. We went to the room and the maintenance worker called my phone. Sure enough, we could hear it vibrating faintly inside. He opened the door and let me in. I thanked him and he left. There it was, my phone, sitting on the bathroom counter. I grabbed it and turned to leave. But my petty side wasn't done yet. I took the creep's toothbrush, ran it all along under the toilet rim, and put it back exactly where it had been. Then I happily left, phone in hand, and stopped seeing the prick for good. I still smile knowing the creep must have noticed my phone was gone, but probably had no idea how I got it back. Or that he brushed his teeth with toilet water.
Number 2.
This time last year, my roommate and I started doing daily outfit checks. For context, our apartment was one of 4 in a split-level house located in the city. We were the only apartment on the first floor. The front door of the house was unlocked. There was no key. It opened to a staircase that led upstairs and a spiral staircase that went downstairs. I would press the doorbell outside my personal door and say what I was wearing, and she would do the same. This went on until about December. When December rolled around, I had accumulated enough clips to make a TikTok. As we were going through our daily outfit videos, we noticed missed ring notifications from a man I didn't recognize. I was shocked. The clips were all terrifying. When we looked back through the recorded history, we saw that this man had been coming into the house after me. He would come inside a minute after I did, linger at my door, pretend to cry, hide his face, then become visibly frustrated before leaving. I was scared. I had never felt fear like that before. It was overwhelming. I stopped walking alone at night. Then I stopped walking alone altogether. Eventually, I stopped leaving my house. I tried to convince myself I was being paranoid because I lived in the city. Maybe he was just a younger, mentally ill homeless person. Maybe he had found something of mine. Maybe he liked my dogs and had a question about them. Anything but the truth. I posted on Reddit to get some insight. I'm 26 years old and think I have a stalker, or something like that. People told me I was being naive, that I was clearly being stalked, that it wasn't funny, and that it was dangerous. Most disturbingly, they pointed out something I hadn't even noticed. In 2 of the 3 videos I had posted, the man was naked from the waist down. I was mortified. I couldn't handle how embarrassing and frightening the situation was, and I stopped inviting people over to my house. I didn't expect the post to get as much attention as it did. My friends had read it before I even told them what was going on. I received tons of messages asking if I was safe, asking about the videos, and even asking if they could tell my story. Most were supportive, except one. I got a message from an account that said, "Please delete your post. I am not a stalker." What? Was he expecting that to reassure me? Like I'd read it and think, oh good, glad that's cleared up? No, I had posted to LetsNotMeet. I ended it exactly like that. Why would anyone send a message like that unless they were the person in the post? When I clicked on the profile, I saw his face. The same face from the Ring videos. I was horrified. He had even posted a video of himself speaking in some random community, and hearing his voice made my stomach drop. I blocked the account, took screenshots of everything, and sent them to my school's police department. They followed up, but because he was a stranger, there wasn't much they could do except wait for him to show up again. He didn't, for a while. Then in July, I moved into a new house. I was moving in with my mom, full of relief and happiness. Everything felt normal again. On July 2nd, I was walking my dogs around the back of the house. As we rounded the corner, I saw someone on the opposite side of the sidewalk. Something about him triggered something in my mind. As we passed each other, just a few feet apart, he looked me in the eyes and smiled. I stopped in my tracks. In broad daylight, I had never felt so angry. I turned to my friend and said, loud enough for anyone to hear, "That's the guy who was naked at my door." He didn't react. He just kept walking. "That's the guy who found my Reddit post." Still nothing. I turned fully toward him, his back to me, and yelled, "If I ever see you here again, I will beat the hell out of you." In hindsight, that was the worst thing I could have said, but it was mortifying. I took a picture of him and called the police. They couldn't find him. On July 5th, he was sitting across the street from my house waiting for me. My roommate saw him and took a photo. The police found him and told him to stay away. He didn't. He came right back. They issued me an emergency PPO and a warrant for stalking. He was arrested and then bailed himself out. The same day he was released, he came back again. I called the police, went back to the magistrate, and another warrant was issued for felony stalking and violating the PPO. He showed up every single day, even after being arrested and released on bail. He didn't show up to the hearing, which placed him in contempt of court. A bounty hunter eventually found him, and he's currently in jail. It's surreal to finally feel safe enough to talk about it.
Number 1.
When I was 12, my little brother was 10. At the time, our mom was dating an abusive man, and because of him, both our front and back doors had been kicked in and never properly fixed. They didn't lock. My mom and her boyfriend were usually at the bar, gone for hours, sometimes all night. That's where they were when this happened. Our house was small. The front door opened into the living room, where you could see straight through to the back door. A hallway to the right led to the bedrooms. That night, my brother and I were in his room with the door closed, playing PlayStation. It was around midnight when I heard something. At first, it was faint, just a strange noise. My brother didn't notice, and I didn't want to scare him. He was sickly and prone to asthma attacks, especially when he got anxious. So I told him I was going to get us a drink and asked him to stay put. But before I left, I told him to get in the closet and work on our fort, like it was a game. Really, I just wanted him hidden somewhere safe. I stepped into the hallway, trying not to make a sound. That uneasy feeling in my chest grew stronger with every step. Something was wrong. I could feel it. Then I heard it clearly. A low, deep growl. It didn't sound human. It made my stomach drop and my whole body go cold. I froze where I stood, barely breathing, trying to decide what to do. I remember thinking how alone we were. No one nearby to call. My dad in another state, and my mom nowhere to be found. Then I heard my brother's bedroom door open behind me. I turned and he was standing there, staring at me. One look at my face and he froze. His eyes went wide. He must have heard it too. I quickly motioned for him to go back inside. He did, without a word. I forced myself to keep moving. When I finally reached the end of the hallway, I slowly leaned forward and peeked around the corner into the living room. What I saw is burned into my memory. A man, huge, easily over 6 feet tall and heavyset, was sitting on our couch. He had this awful grin on his face, like he was enjoying himself. There was something in his eyes that I can't explain, but it terrified me more than anything else. Somehow he didn't see me. I backed away as quietly as I could and returned to my brother's room, shutting the door behind me. I told him the truth, that there was a man in the house, and that he needed to be very quiet and very brave. He looked at me like I could fix it, like I always did. So I tried to be strong for him. First, I tried the window. It wouldn't budge. I started looking for anything we could use to defend ourselves when the man suddenly called out from the other side of the house. "I know you're here." My blood ran cold. And then my brother started wheezing, an asthma attack. I dropped everything and went to him, holding him, trying to keep him calm, whispering for him to breathe slowly. Inside, I was panicking, but I couldn't let him see that. I went back to the window, trying again to force it open. Still nothing. Then, by sheer luck, I found an old cell phone my older brother had left behind. I grabbed it and called the police, keeping my voice low as I explained what was happening. But the man found our door. He started banging on it. The entire frame shook with each hit. My fear finally broke through and I started screaming. Loud, uncontrollable, desperate screams. Then, suddenly it stopped. For a moment, there was complete silence. And then he started laughing. Slow, eerie, deliberate. "You know I could break this door down in 2 seconds, little girl?" he said, his voice suddenly calm. Then came a scratching sound against the door, slow and dragging. At the time, I thought it was his fingernails. It wasn't. Seconds later, I heard shouting. Police officers yelling commands, followed by the sound of a struggle. Then everything went quiet again. When someone knocked on the door, I couldn't move. I thought it was him. I just kept crying, begging for it to stop. Eventually, a female officer spoke and I found the courage to unlock the door. The moment I saw her, my brother and I ran to her and collapsed, sobbing. I had been holding it together for him, but I couldn't anymore. Later, I learned the man had been drunk and high. He had a large knife. That's what he had been scraping against the door. And he also had rope, tape, and a tarp. I still don't know why he didn't break the door down. That night never left me. Even now, I can't stand unlocked doors. I have children of my own now, and one thing is certain. They will never go through what I did.
Share your Let's Not Meet stories in the comments section.
Leave your comment down below and like and subscribe for more Reddit stories like this.